Croc shot.
I never sent you a croc shot.
No, but your leg was on top of there.
No, I had my foot up like this.
Yeah.
And I had one leg down. Listen,
It was weird.
Excuse me.
It's giving Miles Morales.
Excuse me. Maybe, but here's the thing, okay? Listen, you might have spent your Fridays and Saturday evenings, right?
With gangsters.
Hanging out with fucking Top Boy. Okay? Yeah. Fucking Kano,
swearing.
Asher D,
Now he's swearing.
Kit and Jamie and them, man.
Welcome to my podcast, Sip and Sala, where we lift the lid, spilling the tea on all things marriage, womanhood, and motherhood. So let's sip some tea and pray we get through another day of this shit. Hi, welcome back to Sip and Sala. Most of you know me as Aaliyah Sala, and this is episode 2, Marry or Move On. And we have a little guest with us today. Give it up for Mr. Sala.
Hi, guys.
His name's Farhan. Tell them about yourself.
Well, my name's Farhan. I'm Aaliyah's husband. I'm Jade and Jedi's dad. And I am I won't say the better half, the other half of the Salas. And I resent this Marry or Move On name for this podcast because it's scaring the life out of me, one.
Marry or move on.
Secondly, a little guest. I'm 6'1".
6'1.5". Normally he always adds the half.
Technically.
He always adds the half. So you guys, he's been truthful. But we're here to talk about marriage. Like I told you all in my intro, I got married at 19 to this lovely gentleman here. And a bit of a debrief. He's Muslim. I was raised Christian. And that just seems to cause controversy on the internet. What do you...
I think the sofa felt the tension in the room. Feels has controversy on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that, yeah.
We get a lot of shit, basically.
And a lot of nice people.
No. Of course.
Nice people. Way more.
Do you see the difference in us already? We get a lot of nice people, but we also get a lot of shit. I won't lie, I do think I'm a little bit of a trigger to people because I'm so unapologetically out there.
Honest.
But I wouldn't change any of it because if I did, we wouldn't be here, I don't think.
No.
But anyway, we're going to chat about that. So before we get into all the goss, let's start right back at the beginning on how we met. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Give him a little brief short story on how. Let us know.
Well, I'm long-winded, so short stories are difficult for me.
Come on, tell me. Tell them about the
moment
moment you laid your eyes on me.
So I was at work. I just received a promotion, and then the big operations manager.
Shout out to the promotion.
Yeah, thanks. The big operations manager was just like literally, the head of training was just handed in their notice. I need someone to take training, like the products and what we do here. So go do training. You
really are long-winded, honey. None of this has any relevance to me. How we met. Just get to it.
I walked into the training room. There's a whole bunch of new people to work. I'm looking through. Hi, guys. And I see this slightly
oh my
hungover
God.
young lady.
Hungover?
I
might have looked hungover, but I wasn't.
Wearing this red and black plaid shirt.
Oh my God.
Light blue denim jeans, a dark stonewashed black t-shirt, and these like grey and black and pink
Harachis, yeah, that someone stole off me. My ex-partner took them, I'm telling you.
Oh, listen, whatever you say about your ex-drama, okay? So
we'll leave that for another episode.
Just like, okay, who's this person? So we continue through training.
Right, I won't lie to you respectfully. I'm going to have to interrupt now because you're going a long way. We met at a job. Like he said, we met at work. And yeah, I look like a little child there. He literally looked like the freshest guy. No. I don't mean like fresh as in like you're good looking or anything like that. I meant as in like he looked like the biggest freshie. Like the biggest.
I thought you were going to tell the story honestly for the first
No. I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to tell the story. And like I said, at Sip and Sala, I've got tea. And we need prayers for the tea.
Exactly.
So let me be brutally honest, right? I met him respectfully. He was a little skinny, bit of malnourished. He looked a little hungry. he had these Jordans on, which probably was the best part about his outfit. This H&M t-shirt was probably like an extra small to make his arms look a tad bigger. And these Zara jeans, which I could tell he was passing between him and his brother, and it turns out to be true.
The lies.
But when he spoke, I swear to you, maybe you could try and like reenact it now. He walked in the room, right? I didn't give a shit who walked in the room, but he walked in the room and he said, what did you say?
Morning, guys. My name's Farhan. I'm going to be taking your training.
No, he's like, hi guys. My name's Farhan Salah. Now, cover your ears, kids, but he had a voice that you would like think, oof, like you don't even need to look, close your eyes. You want to sit on their face.
Wow.
So, and I was really vulgar back then. Like I was incredibly vulgar. And although I didn't have a platform, I was always posting to my friends on Snapchat, and I took a picture of this guy and I put like love on my life. But I was joking. I was obviously going to tell my friends when I went out later that night, like, that is what I wanted to do to this person. But here we are. We've been married for a hot minute. Anyway, that's how we met. What?
Sorry, what's this podcast called again?
Amos.
I must take a sip.
Oh, he's also Somali if we didn't get there with that. Amos means quiet. Anyway, we met, we got along, we were friends, but we were toxic, don't you think?
We?
It was so toxic. So basically, we dated and we got along, but immediately I felt there was humongous culture clashes.
Yeah. I remember like a week in, like, if we get married, what religion our kids are going to be? I'm like, whoa, you know you feel like, yo.
No, but respectfully, this is really shallow-minded and really narrow-minded and really uneducated. But I'd only met a handful of Muslims before, and the handful of Muslims I'd met would tend to be, you know, if you go to a shop, your mum goes buys meat. Go to the hair shop, for example. The hair shops are always, most of the time, owned by a guy, like an older. It was always an old and Asian guy or something like that. And they would tell you about their daughters. So you'd be at the queue and they'd be like, my daughter's getting married. And my mum would be like, to who? You know, naturally. And they'd be like, oh, we set it up. You know what I'm saying? So for somebody who's outside that culture, I was like, what? So when I met you, I was like, oh, let me know what I signed up for, please.
You asked 1,000,001 questions.
I did.
1,000,001.
I asked 1,000,001 questions. He calmed my nerves. I asked immediately then, if you had children, what would you raise them? Like, is there mandatory? What about me? What about this one? And he was literally sitting there like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? But I just wanted to know if we were wasting each other's time. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, anyway, fast forward, we dated. Then we hit these speed bumps. What? Why is your face not like that?
I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee and prepare.
Sip and salah, baby. We hit speed bumps. The first thing was, I never met Far's mom first. And I never was one of them girls who was like, let me meet your mom. But I did find it hella booky that every time you brought me around a family member, it was your dad. Like, and his dad's like a massive clown. Like, respectfully, he's like the big joker, isn't he? And I was like, wait, why is he bringing me around this big joker all the time? And then on like the third or fourth time meeting your dad, I was like, where's his mom? And his dad was like, his mom thinks you're very loud. And you shouted at her son. I'm trying to put his dad's accent on, but she's like, you're very loud. Yeah. What, is that not true?
He did say that she thought you were
He was like,
yes.
don't worry, in time she will like you. But he didn't say she didn't like me, but he basically did.
But in
Didn't
time,
he?
She will like you.
In time. Inshallah. We're gonna send you to the kitchen, you're gonna spend time cooking with her, then she will love you, just like I do. Is that not what he said?
Yes.
So yeah, immediately I was like, oh shit. Not because I wasn't willing to do anything, but it was just more like, oh man, like, come on, man. I don't know if I'm ready for all this. Like, you know me, I was just partying all the time. So I was like, for fuck's sake, like, I was stressed.
Mm-hmm.
You agree?
Yeah.
Why are you mm-hmm? What's the mm-hmm about?
I'm just getting flashbacks.
Anyway, we had many bumps. Things like Farhan and I's first trip away. I bought him a trip to Venice, and I was like, woo, wrote him a little poem for his birthday, bought him some Jordans and all the rest of it. And the poem in the card ended up in telling him, like, we're going to Venice. And he was like, I'm going to have to talk to my mum first. And I was like, what? What? And he was like, I've got to. And I just couldn't understand that. And you was like, I'm going to have to talk to her.
I'm gonna have to talk to my family.
No, you said mom.
Yeah, I was like, I could work this around dad, 100%. But I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to speak
but
to mom.
why? What were you working around
I don't
him?
know, you know what? Culturally, it's just like it's like I never accounted for the fact that I may one day have to go to my parents. Hey, mum, dad, you know my girlfriend, the girl I'm dating.
You didn't say I was your girlfriend though the whole time.
Yeah, no, it was like we're planning on going to another country together. I came from a very, very, very a tight knit family.
You did,
so
but
if I left the country without, it just didn't sit right with me.
okay, but I didn't ask you to break rules. But question, and I've never asked you this. You went on holiday with one of your ex-girlfriends.
Ew.
T. Yeah. What did you tell them then? Let me know.
To be fair,
Did you
it was like
lie?
a big group holiday.
So you said I'm going with my friends.
I think that whole relationship,
No.
was kind of like a secret anyway.
I'm not honoured by your dirt, by the way, by your sins. Don't put your sins on me.
I'd like to think that the several years since then I've grown.
No.
Became a better person.
We're not talking about the person you are. What did you tell them to get on that plane? To go with your girlfriend?
No, I was going with a group of friends, which is absolutely true. Like a
So
group
you
of boys and
lied.
girls.
So he lied.
No, one of them just happened to be somebody, but there was a group of boys and girls flying out.
So you're lying. You see, he doesn't want them to watch this. He
I
doesn't want them to watch
I
this.
didn't lie.
They're gonna find out you lied.
Let's just hope the fact that I'm such a good boy now.
Did you lie? Tell the truth, yes or no?
Huh?
Did you?
I omitted.
Did you say I'm going to holiday with friends,
Yes.
even though you went with the girlfriend?
And friends, there was male and female friends, and it was,
Okay.
like I said, that was a bit of a secret.
So yeah, so he lied. Okay, so he lied. So basically, he asked, and he's like, "I don't think my mom's gonna let me go." And I was like, "Oh hell no," because I was just having like my mommy issue kind of triggers, and I was like, "Oh no, this is a crazy." Because I didn't understand your culture, so I just thought you had mommy issues, and like everything had to run past your mom. I remember like there was like an event coming up. I can't remember what kind of event, and I was like, "What do you think I should wear?" Because I've always been a bit of a fashionista. You was like, "Ask my mom to get you some fabric." I'm like, "I'm fucking sick of this lady at this point." I don't even met her. Respectfully though, I'm like. He's asking me to ask her for fabric. She don't even know my name. She never laid her eyes on me. Why can't you just tell me what jeans I want to wear? But I get it, because you was thinking, let her talk to my mom so she feels a part of it when she gets there. But then I was like, you've got issues. What you roll your eyes at?
This is the first time I've heard this level of hindsight and clarity.
Well, this is my podcast, and I've saved it for this. So sip and salah.
I've finished sipping. I'm ready. Salah right now.
Okay, so we did hit a few road bumps, and then I did eventually meet his mum, and she was way more chill than he'd painted, and because he was used to always be like, "My mum's the dragon," She's like, what did you call her? Like a dragon or something, a lion or something.
Lioness.
You used to call her like an animal name, but not in like
lioness. How are you going to characterize it as an animal name?
No, but you used to say like, I'm sure you said like she's a dragon, like she almost breathes fire, but she means well.
I've never once said that.
Okay, well, he basically said like she's. Did you say like a growl is louder than a bite? He said something like that. You did.
No.
He's lying again. Okay, so he basically said to me, you know what? I told you she's soft inside. She just appears a bit, has a hard exterior, shall we say? Anyway, skip forward. We got married. About what? 18 months later.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Tell them a little bit about that. He wasn't ready for this podcast.
No.
Good. This is what you signed up to, honey.
Yeah, it was just kind of it was one of those things where we were going to get married and do our nikah, and I was looking forward to just starting like our lives.
Why did you want to marry me? Because, disclaimer, I was a bit more chill, and I remember, right, I was going to get an apartment once, and I was like, you might as well just live with me. We'll just get a 2-bedroom apartment, like. And he was like, what? Hell no. And I'm like,
crazy. I was like,
I was just thinking cut the cost, man. I wasn't thinking anything more than that.
In the back of my mind, I was like, did she ask me to help her look at these apartments? And I'm like,
I did.
I was like, I'm like, if she's that calculated, what else is she calculating?
No,
Yeah, me doing
but I could afford to live there
180s.
by myself. But think
Yeah.
about it. Why would I want to pay $1,000 if I could pay 500? That's all I was thinking. You know me. I'm always counting the pennies, counting the pounds.
Mm,
What do you do that for?
you're a little money manager. You.
But what flicked your switch in your mind? Because I do believe you was interested in me, but I don't think you ever thought I want to snatch her up and put a ring on it. So what changed? Because I know there was a complete like switch, but you've never told me what.
I sat down and I thought about like, because obviously in the back of my head I was just like, first off, you were young, and then
I was young.
yeah, you were younger than me.
Clarify that, man. You
You were
know,
younger than me, so obviously
younger.
for me,
Yeah,
of
not
course, but
young.
I'm saying, yeah, of course, but I'm saying if let's say for example, I was thinking if I put like 4 or 5 years into this, and then you're like,
Our relationship.
yeah, and then you're
Okay.
like, F this guy, his crazy family, and his faith that I don't understand. Yeah. Then do you know what? Like, I don't know, but culturally, it's like, oh, it felt like a lot was on the line for me culturally.
Why?
Like,
Oh, because you'd be like risking a lot.
yeah, because I'm saying like for me, I intend to get married once, one time only, and I'm not saying you didn't. Do you know what I mean?
You know what though? Can I just say something? And it's not a challenge, but it kind of is at the same time. So I'm guessing you grew up thinking like I'm gonna get married once, probably gonna be a Islamic marriage to maybe probably 99%, maybe even 90% a Muslim woman, but you know loads of like Muslims who have got married and they're not married now.
Yes.
So what leads you to believe it'll just be once and once only?
Because of might be a bit, obnoxious to say, but
Put that obnoxious statement out there.
because of my decision making and how
Decision making being
because I would not get in a relationship with someone first off, like ever, unless I felt like super strong about them. So there's a big
you remember
fact-
Egypt?
Yo, listen, you keep violating and putting shots out there. Like that's not
No.
that's not fair.
No.
Right. Secondly, like I'm talking, I didn't even date people, let alone get in relationships. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very, 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 very picky when it comes to who I
Egypt.
say was my.
How are you denying dating people?
You're moving a little soul.
Salty?
You keep
Honey.
Exactly.
Listen,
So
let
why
me
don't
tell
you
you
put your
something.
ego side? Let me finish my side of the story.
Finish
You
your
asked me a
side.
very important question.
Answer your question then, honey.
Right, let me
But don't
answer.
lie, you was dating people because you dated a whole girl in Egypt. You took the girl on the plane.
I didn't take her.
You got flew out.
I've never flew anybody out, bro.
Okay, finish your story.
Look,
Sorry, I
here's the point I'm
apologize.
making to you. Look, I was very particular, and I was like, if I'm going to bring someone into my family,
Okay.
and say before my family and before God, I'm going to marry them. There is no way that I'm not going to be certain that this is the right thing.
Did she not meet your family, or did she not know about your family? Okay, I
know
wouldn't be
what I mean?
upset. I didn't know that.
No, so like it's one of those things where like look, it's one of those things where that was the main reason. I knew like how important it was who I brought to my family. Do
Okay.
you know what I mean? So I don't know. I was just sitting back and I was just thinking to myself. I was like, you've been living a certain life and lifestyle.
Who's that? You?
Yeah.
Okay.
For quite a while now, and I was like, yes, it's fun. Yes, there's no like responsibilities. You've got freedom. You get to live life at your own pace, but I just looked at you as a person and the values that you had, like your borderline disgusting honesty. And that's what it was at that time.
When you said this, because I was like,
Excuse me.
what is he about to say on my podcast? No. It was. I thought I actually no. You know, it wasn't the honesty that was the issue. Let me be clear with you. It was the immaturity, because I do believe I've always been a very honest person until this day. We just came back from a christening where I felt like I was very honest there. However, I now know that there's a certain point to push your honesty. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to like push a point. If someone asks you a question, answer honestly. But if they don't ask you, don't say.
But that's what I meant by borderline disgusting, right? It was like, like people would be like, "Yeah, this is too much honesty."
You hated it.
Oh man, it was crazy. So it was like there's that, and then I was like, "But what a remarkable value that is." And it's not just in what you say; it's the honesty to yourself and your own personal values. Like you as annoying and difficult and made so many things in the early stages, you just weren't a hypocrite. And also, like, I'd never been loved like you loved me.
Oh, that's
Do you know what I
sweet.
mean? No, I'm being 100% honest, and I
I
felt
was
like,
obsessed with you at one point, wasn't I?
yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, no, I really do prefer. I prefer how things are now. It's been crazy. Waking
No.
up to a camera in your face, like a light at 3 a.m.
Oh my
And
God, I
then-
just love you so much. I love the way you blink your eyelid.
I swear, it's like, and then there'd be like a million Snapchats of "Love of my life."
Love my life. I used to comb your beard for 6 hours.
Oh my days, it was.
You know what?
crazy.
You're going to say astaghfirullah, but I swear to you, I used to say to you, I used to say, I worship you. And
I
you
say,
should
"Stop, hey, you crazy woman." Yeah, but the point I'm making to you is this: like I've always felt like I've always had this need to like impress, to be loved, or wherever it may come from, whatever childhood like need to be like, look at me, please.
Mummy issues.
Yeah, I hate it. Crazy. And like whenever I received it, I'd always just be like,
Yeah, no, you was.
like,
I found
still
that.
to this day, like it's still a bit jarring. I'm just a bit more accepting of your love now.
No, you 100%. But I do feel like you wanted my love, but you didn't know how to receive it because you almost forced yourself to be around me. You wanted to be around me, but the more I was around you and the more I shared myself with you, the more you was just like, oh, get away from me, but don't go too far.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was like, what's wrong with this guy, man? Mommy issues, man.
It's that fear of just being vulnerable and just being real and being your real self. Do you know?
I'd never met anyone who was like that, though. It's either like someone who's completely closed or completely open. You was like tug of war.
Yeah.
But you know.
But I thought about that, and then I thought about where we were going together. Do you know what I mean? And like you had this like need to just do better and be better and constantly
To win.
move forward. Yeah.
My need to win is disgusting. That is disgusting.
Right?
Say it in the same way you just said. Disgusting.
Filth, but I can get behind the need to win a bit more because it takes us places instead of hurt feelings. But do you know what I mean? And I know that same thing was in me. Like whenever we've nearly been divorced over Paul.
Pool. Oh, the game. What is it? Paul? Or what the heck is that?
We wouldn't be divorced over that. You just drown.
Oh, pool. I thought you said Paul, though.
No, pool.
Over the pool.
Over the game.
The swimming pool.
Games of pool. Like,
oh, pool. Okay, like snooker.
Yeah, snooker, pool. We've nearly divorced over that.
Yeah, but that's because I feel like you struggle to just like, what?
There's that disgusting competitive need.
No, it's not. No, I can't do with you, though.
I just thought what we'd be able to bring to a family and together if we can get past our stuff is so worth it, and it's worth whatever would come down the line. And naively, I just thought, let me just get across the line of us being
married, and you thought it'd be fine after that.
Oh, I thought at least if we are halal in the eyes of God and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the whole family is there to witness it, and we move forward, I thought, you know what, that will take so much of the like parts of me that I'm locking off because I don't want to like fall flat on my face and be hurt.
But funny you say that, though. But funny you say that because it was really important for me to marry you, to avoid you sinning in your religion for me. Like, is this... Look, everyone asks us all the time. Sex before marriage. Look, let me answer one thing. Me and Farhan, we didn't lock lips for about 6.5 months. Now you're all going to be like, you liars. I swear to you. It was almost... No, but I think you would have kissed me, respectfully. You would have kissed me.
Let's just say I had a tenancy agreement in the friend zone for a hot minute.
No.
Half a year.
We weren't friends, though. We were friends.
You were a friend who was feeling me.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Feeling me.
I feel like she's going to start sitting breaking on it. Running, mate. Okay, no, we was friends, but we both knew that it was something more. But I don't think either of us wanted to take it that much further. I do think, and this is not me calling you out on your sins, but I do think you physically probably would have lipsed me. But I'm not a lipsing gal. I won't kiss people. I won't. I just don't do that. And you know, like sometimes, especially when I was growing up, I'm so straight to the point about sex and kissing and physicality that some people consider it like, is she a bit slutty? But no, it's like, I don't filter certain things, you know what I'm saying? But I just wouldn't have lipsed you. I wouldn't have lipsed anybody. Like, where have your lips been? Go to the clinic. No, seriously, like.
Go brush your lips.
do,
Bleach your lips.
do you remember? I wouldn't even let you put your finger on my lip back in the day. Do you remember? I think you once said like shush, and I was like really upset.
She was disgusted.
I was
like, shh.
But I think because I'm so open, people are just like, oh, is she a bit of a freak? No, I'm not. I just feel like, I do feel like sex just has to be addressed as what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. Do you know what I mean?
At the same time, being the biggest prude in the game.
No, I am. No, this is what I'm saying. I'm the biggest prude. But this is what I'm saying. But just because I would just say, we're going off track now. But like, for example, right, when I was a teenager, right, let's say us girls hung out and we hung out with some guys too, like 5 girls, 5 guys. And these guys, as being freaky little teenagers, get their penises out, right? Thinking us girls, no, let me explain it to you. Other girls will go and say, oh my God, guess what? I saw his little, and I'll be like, he got his penis out, Mom, and I told him I don't want nothing to do with it. You understand? I won't dress up the word of what he got out. You understand? Because I just feel like, why are we putting tinsel on something? You don't like that?
No, just the mental image of you having a conversation with your mom saying,
no, I wouldn't have that.
She's like, Mom, I didn't want nothing to do with it. They got his dick.
No.
And do you know what they did? Oh my God.
No, because I just feel like, and even now as a mom, we are going slightly off topic, but even now as a mom, remember I said to you, especially since we had boys, what are we going to call that? And you were like, we're going to call it, and you came up with some name like Inky or something, Tinky. No. I just made that up. I can't remember the name. And I was like, you know what? We're just going to have to tell him that's your penis. Because I worry the lack of knowledge or the lack of transparency in that topic leaves people open to vulnerability. Because, you know, there's people who say, oh, this, you know, your little fairy, for example. That can be dressed a different ways to certain people. So I like to say, no, I'm very black and white, but it does come across a little vulgar, although I'm the biggest prude. But back to sex before marriage. We did not kiss for at least 6.5 months. Do you want to answer the rest?
No.
Okay, we'll keep that. That's in the lock and key.
I think there's certain things that should
Now, everybody is so interested on our relationship with our in-laws. So let's talk about you and my dad. What do you think about him? Please keep his name out of here. Let's not.
I would never.
Go. Oh, here he is.
Well, look, I had 2 viewpoints.
What's your viewpoint?
First viewpoint was before children, and second one was after children.
Before you had
Before we had kids.
No, but like your relationship with my dad. So before you met him, what were you thinking? What were you hoping for it to be?
I was hoping for it to be the cool older Jamaican friend I always wish I had.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though you knew my relationship with my dad?
I was hoping that by having a good relationship, because I tend to get on well with everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. And I was hoping that I'd be able to be like, you know, look, come on, bro. You know what I mean?
Come on, bro.
That's what I am. Listen, you know what I'm like. You know.
And what did it amount to being when you met him? Did he fit? Let's start off at the beginning. When you laid your eyes on him, the way he looked, the way he spoke, the way he carried himself, did he fit what you expected?
Yeah, you described him to a T.
And actually, you met him on Christmas Day, didn't you? Far actually surprised me. I was having Christmas dinner at my dad's house and he'd already contacted my dad. And Far was in London because somebody had just passed away. And he decided... So I wasn't going to spend Christmas with you, but it was about maybe a week before Christmas, wasn't it? So you went down there, you paid your respect.
It was like 2 days before Christmas.
Okay, so this was like Boxing Day or something, right? And you spoke to my dad and my siblings, but I didn't know. And you was like, can I surprise you later? So he got a train up and then he got a taxi to my dad's house. So when you opened the door... who opened the door to you? Maybe it was my sister because she's obsessed with you.
Your sister or your brother.
Okay. So did you see my dad in the kitchen then when I saw you? I think I could...
No, he came. He was right behind your sister.
Okay. And when you laid your eyes on him...
He was like, Drake! You look like Drake! Which I was like, oh,
anyone who didn't understand that, he said Drake. You look like Drake. My dad's a brummie. And although he hasn't lived there for a very long time, he has this very distinctive accent, doesn't he?
It comes out.
You're right.
You're right.
You're right, Farhan. You're right, Farhan. That's how he talks.
Far.
So yeah, but how did you get along with him when you met him?
Yeah, cool. I think it was a bit.
Lean.
No.
What? Drunk? I thought he was
I
drunk.
think it was a bit just like taken back when we were like, what's up with this guy?
Yeah, but also like if I had it my way, I would have never had you meet my dad on Boxing Day when everyone was drinking alcohol.
Definitely.
No, alcohol, because I would have. I know what my dad's like, and I would have preferred him not to have had alcohol in the system. Not that he did anything wrong, but in my mind, I would have imagined it being an absolute hellish situation. But it wasn't.
It was cool, man. The guy was walking around talking to me, and then like
respectfully, I've just thought about it. My dad gives massive big dick energy, doesn't he? He's a DJ as well, so he did have his dicks out.
You've got Christmas Day, or was it Boxing Day?
Boxing Day.
So you've got a dinner table all laid out, and then over there his decks.
The DJ decks, and he's walking around in his wife beater vest and his Diesel belt and chains.
Oh, he had a t-shirt on.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm shooked at probably Diesel as well, because it's sponsored by Diesel. That's all he wears, Diesel. He thinks he's the coolest kid. But pray for Mr. Sala. His name's not Mr. Sala, but let's protect that. So yeah, you met him, whatever. We moved on. We continued our relationship. How is your relationship with Mr. Aliyah Sala? Speak.
It's non-existent.
Non-existent. But that's not really your fault, though.
No.
So speak about it before it's non-existent, and I'll explain to them why it is non-existent now.
Well, I don't know. It's like he just fell off the face of the earth, and then it was hard to get back. It was hard to get back in contact with him. Like,
wait.
There's a couple of things. Like I like to consider myself a very classic kind of male.
I'm a little confused.
Who stands by male principles, and I really wanted to ask before we got married for your hand in marriage.
Yeah, but I just said to you, tell us about your relationship with my dad before the disconnect, and you immediately came with your EastEnders moment and was like, "Look, he just fell off the face of the earth." Have you got daddy? Have you got daddy issues? Have you got daddy issues on behalf of my daddy?
Issues.
He's got issues. No. He's hurt you. He's burned you, hasn't he?
No.
Do you want me to find him?
Honestly,
I can't. If I wouldn't be able to. If I did, he'd walk past me in the street. But that's for another time.
Another podcast.
Okay, no. But how was your relationship before the disconnect? You can tell your sob story at the end, okay?
No, it was cool. You know what I mean?
They actually got along really well.
Really well, and I think he respected me. I think he was happy.
Oh, I think you were the best of the bad bunch, in a sense of my dad has 2 daughters, and I think he was he did not like my sister's choice, but my dad, bearing in mind he's a DJ, right? He has many companies, he has many properties, and he also owns a day-to-day business, right? So, but he's not a millionaire, right? But he's doing very well for himself. But my sister brought a working man, and he was just like, yeah, he's all right. I think even though he's not sitting up there with the big ones, he wanted us to bring a big one. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to say to him growing up, I want to be a bartender, and he'd be like, "Mum," he'd tell my grandma, "Mum, tell her she wants to be one of them girls in the short skirts."
Yeah. Your grandma giving you
and she'd be like, "You want to be a prostitute?" But she's Jehovah's Witness, so
full, devout Jehovah's Witness.
She'd be like, "Why don't you go ahead and dye your hair blonde?" She's so rude. And then remember when I went blonde, she was like, "You joined them." She's so rude. I apologise. My grandma's just rank.
Hold on, the insult of why don't you go and dye your hair
blonde? Seriously? Because I wanted to be a bartender.
Grandma, that's nuts.
But anyway,
I'll turn her off next time I see her.
They got along beautifully. And what?
And he gassed me up because, do you know what I like about you? You've got ambition. You've got plans.
Yeah, see, my dad talks like Lord Sugar. He talks like Lord Sugar, but he.
Yeah, he's be like, you just don't want to sit around. You want to make something greater of yourself. I used to be like, yeah, feed me.
But no, because father lives on gratification. You do.
No.
When, let's say, a teacher says, "Everybody hand your paper in," and that's it. Everyone hands their papers in and shuts up. Far's the kid who hands his paper in along with the other 30 kids and then puts his hand up and says, "Hi, miss, I've handed my paper in."
An extra credit.
No. I've handed my paper in and I had no creases. He just gives the most. He just does the most. Does the most.
I try my best. Everything.
But Let's skip past it. You didn't ask my dad for my hand in marriage. No, you did.
I did.
You did ask my dad for my hand in
Tried to
marriage.
call.
No, you did. No, wait.
Tried to call.
You did no. What happened when you asked my dad for my hand in marriage and he said, so what does it entail of? Any more wives? Remember he asked you about...
No, that was the first time I met him.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was like, Dad, stop, he's Muslim. I was so embarrassed.
He was like this. So you're Muslim, right? I was like,
and my dad's never met a Muslim. I know that sounds... has he?
Do you remember he goes, let me ask you a question. Are you going to get a wife from back home and then leave her? Is that what's going to happen? Because
I apologise.
I'm not being rude or anything, but I had a sister and she got married to another Muslim man and then he brought another wife from back home.
Really? He told you about all this?
I'm not being rude, but I just want to know if that's what's going to happen. I was like, I can't lie to you. Like, I couldn't deal.
Okay, so my dad's met one Muslim before that then. And probably watched movies with Muslims.
Come on,
you know what? Second-hand embarrassment for Mr. Elias Saleh because that's embarrassing. So embarrassing. I was embarrassed at the time, but I do think it was lack of education. And the most beautiful thing about you is there's so many people who could get offended by the way that he placed those questions to you. But I think that you always look at people's heart before you hear what comes out their mouth because. You know, this is one thing that I don't think is more... It needs to be more understanding in the world. You know, like sometimes people are like, I'm open to questions, ask me questions. But then you ask a question and they're like, I don't like the way you ask me.
Yeah, man, but it's just one of those things, man. It's like, how on earth are you ever going to...
Get it out, yeah.
...perspectives or actually get them to see the real human side of things if you're just like hostile? You can't be on the defensive.
Oh, he's a good man.
You just can't. Thanks.
No, he really is. I'm telling you, I swear to you, you know, like, I know this sounds terrible and I don't mean it in like a disrespectful way, but obviously you're Muslim, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't drink, you don't, you know, there's certain things like you don't eat pork and things like that. Mm-hmm. You could go, right, he went to a wedding, right, and I swear there's a whole dead pig on the table. Everybody had bacon sandwiches. I was offended for him. Remember, I was like, you want me to tell them? You want me to...
During Ramadan.
During Ramadan as well, and I was like, oh, hell no.
But you know what? But then you were like, oh, hell no. And then they brought me out my whole...
No. But before they did that, before they brought you out that, he's just so understanding. He's like, look, I don't expect anyone to stop the way they're living for me. And... I believe that more people should just think like you, man. Because I know if I ask some people some questions that I ask you, they just wouldn't like the way I'm asking them. But you're like, I get what you're saying. Let me tell you a better way to how to say it moving forward. But here's the answer. But anyway, let's move on. What's your relationship like with my mom? Think about that one. Oh God, we're not talking. We're gonna cry.
We might, you know.
I won't cry.
I know you won't.
No, you did have a relationship with my mom at one time. Mm-hmm. So what was that relationship like? You want me to take the...
No, it's just frustrating.
Frustrating. Okay, let me give you all a bit of a deal. Right. Let me explain. I came from a single parent household. Obviously, I know who my dad was. I knew who my mum was. My mum got really sick at about 14. She has multiple sclerosis. I can never say that. MS. She has MS. So I cared for my mum. But loads of things have happened in my family. And when you put, you know, just life experiences, childhood trauma, then MS, and then when and anyone will understand this, especially when you're looking after a parent, when you have to look after a parent, especially due to an illness, so it's not as though like they got flu, like they rely on you. I remember when my mum could not walk for the first time, but you met her a bit late, pretty late down the line. But when she first couldn't walk, I remember rehabilitating her for honestly, it felt like years. It felt like 20 decades. It obviously wasn't, but to getting back to taking her steps, to, you know, on the toilet, to like lifting her up. And that, you know, it's damaging because you become the parent, right? And naturally, that's then changed mine and my mum's relationship. And the version of my mum you met, I wasn't ever against you meeting her, but I did give you a full disclaimer before you met her and said, this is not who my mum is, but you're more than welcome to meet her. You know what I mean? And you met her and you were like, what? And I'd showed you pictures of her before and you just couldn't connect the two people. She's not the same person.
Yeah, it was hard. And, and obviously, your relationship is
With
your
her.
relationship, and for me,
Does that impact you, though, my relationship with her?
but the fact that you had one.
No, just my experience with her overall.
Yeah, for me, it's the fact that it was just how, even as the young woman that you were,
Yeah.
she just wouldn't champion you in any way.
No,
Do you know what I
I'll
mean?
be honest with you, and you know what, we will talk about this on a different one. I don't think she can champion herself.
Yeah, and that I mean, like in any way, and that really, like, when you,
I think that
when you
really
like,
upsets
yeah,
you.
when you ride for somebody, so like,
Right.
yeah, like,
I'm listening to a rad.
okay, but like when you ride for someone like that, and you see, like, look at all the steps, that every step that you were taking, like, in every month we were together, every year we were together, and all the great things you were doing, and it was like the only things that we could bring up, every conversation led back to, like, but is she annoying? Is she did? I'm like,
Is who annoying me? Oh, my mum would ask you.
like,
Who would ask you
your mum.
if I'm annoying you?
Like, just like, is she annoying you? Are you is she? Yeah.
No, because you know what it was?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to get into this now, just because, no, not because I'm against it, because I do feel like we can talk about that, a different thing, but I was always my mum's, like, problem child, and I believe it's way more common than people talk about. Even though I wasn't the one who gave her the most trouble, she always considered me like a problem child, and I think that, especially now I'm a mom, especially when you have, like, such stressful situations with your kids, right? I would never do this, because obviously kids grow, and as they grow they don't behave in ways that can frustrate you, or less anyway, I'm guessing. But I do feel like some of the burden that she'd held against me, she wanted to verify via you, and because you was like, what? No, it just made her spiral a little bit, but we'll talk about that on another one. So your relationship with my mom, it's okay. Your relationship with my mom, it was okay, but it's about as okay as it's going to be, I guess. Because I don't... Disclaimer. I say disclaimer. There's no disclaimer. I don't have a relationship now with my parents. Ever since having my own children, see, all these kind of relationships we're talking about, all was prior to children. Ever since having my own children, I realised that, you know what? You can't heal everybody, and just because you're birthed by somebody, just because you're blood, doesn't mean that you're the best people for each other. And sometimes you can actually be your best selves without each other. And I know that sounds incredibly sad, and I'm not advocating everybody should just leave their family and never talk to them, but I will say that we had decades of events, of issues, and all I will say is, since not speaking to them, I haven't heard anything. And what I will say is, when I said my dad may walk past me in the street, is this time last year we went to a bonfire event and my dad was there, and he looked at me, I looked at him, and he walked right past me. And that sounds devastating, but you know what? I'm glad he didn't talk to me, because it would have left me being somebody I don't want to be. You understand?
100%. It's just mad. It's exactly a year to the day.
A year today, to this date. But, you know, like, I wouldn't have been like, rah, but, you know, he would have been like, you're right. And I know it sounds terrible, but, you know, especially because I've got my own kids now and I got a husband myself, I feel like if you did that to my kids, right, genuinely, I'd be like, get away, you pathetic piece of shit. You know what I mean, right? Respectfully, I wouldn't even let you look at my children. I'd be like, fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. But like I said, we're going to talk about the parenting, a different thing, because I feel like my mum tried to protect the image of my dad. So she never said, she used to always like say, I'm fucking sick of this. My kids are crying, waiting for you. But then it would be, I've told your dad that, you know, you're all waiting for him and he's really sorry, he's going to come. And then it'd be like, but he's going to come next week. And then we'd fucking do the same shit again, wait in the window.
But, you know, sometimes, I don't know, man, you know, not to, like, be defender or anything, but sometimes, you know, when parents split up, they don't want to be the reason you look at your parents. They want to, in a bad light, they want you to come to that conclusion all by yourself. I
agree, but I would never, let's say me and you separated, I would never tell my children, this guy's this, he's that. But if you didn't come and see them, I would tell you privately, yo, you can't turn up, you're not coming. You want to see them? I'll meet you at McDonald's. No, seriously. And I would do it somewhere where they would never know you were coming in the first place. And if you show up, you show up. And if you don't, they didn't know in the first place. But, you know, we're going to talk about that at a different time. On the other hand, my relationship with your parents is, I'll be honest, I'm going to be brutally honest, I think it's been a little bit toxic. Because, like I said, me and his dad had a great relationship, but I do feel like, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing. Me and you found each other. We chose each other. We chose marriage. It wasn't asked of us by anybody.
No.
But I do feel like, and like I said, it's a cultural thing, I do think. Like, because you're like the son of such and such. I say such and such respectfully, not trying to give names. The son of such and such. And like, you have a wife, and then you own a house, and you have a Range Rover, and you have kids. It's like, your dad's like, I did that. You know what I'm saying? And then I almost felt, it got a few years. Why do you laugh? Why do you laugh?
It's just...
No, because at first your dad used to be like, look, I would have never chose this, but I'm not against it. Well, that was his approach, wasn't it? I would have never gone out of the religion and chose a girl who's not Muslim, but I'm not against it, is what he was saying. And then when we got married, he was like, Farhan, you need to make sure, are you sure? Like, he was a little bit, he wasn't rude, but he was, I get it, because if I was your dad, or anyone's dad, I would do the same.
Yeah, and to a certain degree when we got married.
Yeah.
Like, just as respectfully as you can put it, because I'll never disrespect my parents, but it was kind of like they kind of saw it as like a chess move instead of like...
What chess move for what, though? Okay, go.
Right.
I'm interested.
Instead of like, instead of like, for me, I was like, oh, finally, some freedom to just go and live our lives together in peace, you know, without the judgment, without like the, oh God, I got to touch base with family and be like, look, I know this is what's going on, but I'm trying to move to a halal place. Like, I thought it would just be like, all good. But then it was a bit of a chess move to be like, oh, now that you are a wife
married,
and a Muslim wife and you're married,
am I considered a Muslim wife?
Well, you're a wife of a Muslim person.
Oh, and I wasn't sure. When you said that, I was like, whoa, am I?
It was just kind of like a way to kind of like exert a little bit of control and be like, hey.
Yeah, no, that's one. That's what, you know what, you're right. That's where it went downhill, because the build up to our marriage, I didn't give a shit. I was like, you know what? If I'd be like, and when I say I didn't give a shit, I mean it in a nice way. Like, if I'd be like, it's Eid, for example. We're going to this place to pray, then we're going to go here, then we're going this side of London, far from London, South London, East London, North London. You must wear 15 dirhams. You know what I'm saying? Though, like, my mum's got you 15 different hijabs that you must change in between. And I would literally just be like a sausage roll, like, look, wrap me up, just do what you want. Like, I didn't care, did I? But then it went from that to marriage, and it was like calling me as our daughter. I'm like, what? I used to call you like, I didn't sign up for this. No, but like certain things. Come on.
Listen,
No, but no. Let me explain. Let's say you said you're going to call them tomorrow, right? You're going to call them and you're going to, I don't know. Mum, I'm the eldest son, so I'm going to come down there. I'm going to sort out all your bills. I'm going to pay your bills, and I'm going to book you a flight to Dubai. Let's say you say that, for example. And I'm saying hypotheticals. I actually can't remember. But there was a lot of elder son responsibility in the beginning.
When you're the older son,
yeah.
Tons.
And then it became like, if you didn't do one of those things, they would call me and be like, as the daughter then, you. And then I felt like if I inserted myself, it's going to come between my marriage. And I just felt like, like, in my opinion though, I cannot wait for my children to get married. I really can't. I can't wait to love their partners as much as they love them. However, if they're partners, I would never call their partners and say, yo, tell my son. Never. Like, over my dead body. And I'm not judging your parents for doing that, but I know that if I do that, I'm putting them in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, you never, until you have your own kids.
Yeah.
Like that's why I said even with your dad.
Yeah.
There's pre me having kids and
post. Yeah.
So for me, I'm what I'm like. I'm always going to try and see the other person's point of view until I have a certain amount of experience to be able to see it. But
I never had an issue though with you doing any of your duties or jobs.
And they were crazy, yo. I would be down to London every weekend.
Every 24 hours.
Marriage? Like,
24 hours. It
now
was
I'm a
literally
dad,
like.
I think. Sorry, I don't mean to speak over you, but now I'm a dad. Like I told you, when you have kids, it fully like makes you think like,
How was my marriage survived?
How on earth? Like it would be like sibling A and sibling B have had a dispute with sibling C, and you as the oldest have to...
Let me inform people though who aren't from your culture or from your religion, or because I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it. I think it's Somali culture. I actually don't think it's Somali culture. I think it's just culture. What would you call that?
I would say So Somali, Arabic, Middle Eastern, lots of Eastern cultures.
Far is half Somali, quarter Pakistani, quarter Arab, and I do think it's culture from those.
Yeah, it's not Western culture.
Is it well?
It's not Western family dynamics or culture. It's more Eastern, I'd say.
Look, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
It would be the same in China.
Okay, we get it, right? We get it. Giving us a whole geographical breakdown.
Don't let me start on my old man stuff.
Okay, but it was culture, but there's a line. There is a line. Like, 1 minute it would be like, he'd come on and be like, right, it'd be Friday, and we'd be like, right, I've got to go down because my sister's mum's dad's uncle's friend's auntie, who I call my uncle because they're older than us, has said that he needs to send flowers and 2 sheep to his, and I'm like, who? And you're like, look, and I'm like, what's their name? You're like, look, I can't remember their name right now, but I gotta go. Yeah, no. And then he would go, and I'd be like, you know what? You just go, man. Like, because I didn't even care. Like, I was going with my friends, right? And then he'd come back and then tell the truth. He'd come back, right? Go straight to work, so I wouldn't see him. But he was fine. Monday evening, he would come home from work. Guess who's knocking on the door? Farhan's parents.
Just rock up.
Here again. They live in London. That's 324 miles away. How have you got up here so blood clot quick?
Random. Crazy, man. Like, do you remember the one time I was coming back from boxing? And running home.
Boxing, yeah. And they were there.
Running home. And they're like, oh, hey, we just
They're literally like,
bed to your cousin. I was like, you're going to tell me you're in the city?
They were hopping the cities, right? Like, you would have thought they lived there. But you know what it was? I never had an issue. Even that, I didn't have it. It was when they wanted me to be involved in something I just didn't feel, and still to this day don't feel like I understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and do you know what? A lot of the time I think I'm just going to save you from like the headache and having to deal with like some of the crazy scenarios, which, you know, to people from my culture would just be like, just familial duties, but someone outside the culture would just be like, what on earth? But I never realized how that was kind of like separating us, and we were having like separate things, and I don't think I've ever apologized to you for that.
This time.
Sorry.
No, I don't accept that.
You said this time you tried to be slick, so let me apologize.
No, I won't take that. It's pathetic, that apology.
Don't even start. You decided to take the mic before my apology.
Go ahead.
It's on tape. You can't dispute it.
Go ahead. On
I
tape.
genuinely am. I'm old. Allow me. Listen.
Go.
I genuinely am sorry for that.
No, but let me explain. I won't lie to you. You guys all get a bit of a understanding now of how I grew up, what my family was like. So I wasn't used to this. Like, this was crazy in me. And then like they would ring me. Then it started going to things that, let's say, because you know, culturally, I know this. I don't really want to talk about this, but it's a fact. Culturally, especially as the oldest, you also can take care of some finances, right? So let's say you say, yeah, Mum, I'll send you £600 for a TV, right? Let's say you're at work, so your mum just doesn't call you because you're at work. She'll call me and be like, oh, Farhan said he would sort this, so can I buy this chandelier for £6,000? And I'm like,
No, £6,000 chandelier.
No, there wasn't. No, but
I know, but your extreme example.
No.
These people are here are going to be like, they don't understand.
No,
your hyperbole.
it could have been
just come out with
okay.
15 goats and they'll be like, oh my god.
Right, no. So like I said, Farhan would help out wherever he could, right? But your mum would never ring you while you're at work. And then I think she was just doing the thing of, I'm your wife. But I just felt like I can't answer that question. So it'd be like, Farhan said, or your dad said, Farhan said, it's fine to get his mum a flight to Dubai, right? But why you roll your eyes?
Because these people are going to genuinely believe that I'm buying.
Okay, yeah, but you did get a flight at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, so what do you mean, man? I'm not trying to out you here. I'm just Farhan's gonna treat his mum and sisters to a holiday, right? You did agree that, right? You didn't tell me. I wasn't upset. I didn't care. But don't come and ask me the budget for it, because if I say yeah, then you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Or if I say no, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was. You know, those early years, man. Them difficult.
No.
Situations.
No. But hear me out. Even if I say to my sister, you can take my pair of jeans, you can take all the jeans that are a size 8, right? And I say this to her in October, right? And then I'm at work. My sister comes knocking at the door in November and says, I'm here to get all my jeans. You'd be ringing me like, yo, your sister's here to get these jeans. Which jeans is she taking? Because you're not blaming me. You understand? And that's jeans. These are big life decisions that they wanted me to like verify. I felt like I was like co-signing on your behalf. And it was
I realised it was a fantastic chess move, because it would be like, Spoke to Leah. Done.
Yeah,
I was like,
spoke to Leah and done.
I'd be like, what? Huh?
And I'd be like, I'm not talking to them anymore. Like, I'm not talking. I used to say, I won't talk unless you're there. Because I almost felt like they were using me a little bit. Not to get the stuff, but just say that I'd authorised it. And I never had an issue with what you were given. As long as you could put in your 50%. Some of you might be like, why are you paying 50-50? That is what we want. That's what we agree. It's what I like. I don't believe in any man having to pay all my bills for me. Because he's never going to have anything for himself. And I wouldn't want my children to do that for anyone else. Respectfully. So I used to be like, as long as you can put in your 50 and I can put in my 50, I don't care what you do. But it made me feel so uncomfortable. And then like it started to get a bit unbearable and I was gonna volunteer. Was it in Uganda?
Yeah.
Uganda. So basically I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna volunteer in Uganda. Me and Far were married, but we had a nice marriage, like a bachelor marriage, wasn't it? We were never like old husband and wife, like with dinner waiting, and that was hell for us back in the day though. We would have never wanted a shepherd's pie waiting for us when we walk in the door at 5:05. We were living in penthouses and nice apartments. It was just nice. We had a nice, so I was like, look, I'm gonna go. It's like 2 months, and you were like, yeah, cool. I was like, yeah, cool. Signed up to it. Had to go to this thing in London to like get all my shit in my pack, find out what family I'm staying with. You know what happened? It was a respectable final straw. It was a respectable one, right? Far had no issue with it. He had zero issue. Far's a relaxed guy. I get out the States and I'm thinking, yes, breathing the London air. Like, I'm going to be like a tourist. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to like live it up. You see people on their stories all the time. They live boring lives. They go London. They're like, woo, all their nice food. Then they go back to their boring lives. I get out the States with my luggage. Remember? I'm definitely with the Somali. You hear the soundtrack? I walk out, my hair's blowing in the wind from, you know, like the gust that sucks you in from the tube. Guess who's there?
My dad.
His dad. Halia. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, assalamu alaikum. And he's like, get in. Where are you going? I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, you know, this is good. He's going to take me there, right? So I get in, I gave him the place in the sat-nav. He drives me there. He drives me there. It was a hotel, by the way. It wasn't a hostel. You keep saying it was a hotel, right? The truth is, the hostel was like upstairs. Not the hostel, sorry. The hotel was upstairs, right? And downstairs, 2 doors down, there was a bar, right? And on the bar, there was almost like people outside, like smoking.
It was all the other people who were doing like initial
who was doing the same, right? Which, respectfully, I was going to join with them. Yeah. I was going to get an alcoholic beverage. And yeah, right? So I'm seeing the people, I'm like, whoa, like young 20-year-olds, I can have fun. This is like what you do. For me, anyway. I know you don't, but for me, and Far's never had an issue with me drinking. I don't force him to drink or, whatever. So, and I don't drink in front of his parents, just to put it out there. I get there, I can see him, and I'm just like, oh my God, man, I'm going to like see a different part of the world, and I'm going to see something I've never seen before. Your dad spots it from 0.7 miles away, and he goes, where is the hotel? I'm like, you can just drop me here, I literally say, you can just drop me here. He goes, Alia, where's the hotel? My name's Alia, by the way. He just calls me Alia. I'm like, I think it's, and I didn't even finish pointing. Wallah, he said, you're staying at my house. I'm like, fuck. I didn't want to stay at your house. Right? You had a younger sister who was like 5 years younger than me, and they treated me like her every time I went there. And then they gave me a curfew. I wasn't even allowed to go to the shop. And when I met you and I dated you and I first married you, I used to be a smoker, but no one knew I was a secret smoker. So I couldn't even smoke for 3 days. And they said to me, when I got in there, it was like, you're not going. You can't go to the thing. And then they said, actually, I called you. I was like,
you shouldn't go.
You shouldn't go, right? No, they were talking about the safety and like the fact that I could get kidnapped and like, like trafficking and all that abroad. And I called you and I was like, you're going to have to fix this for me, right? So then he goes, let me get my uncle. He got his uncle to take me, and his uncle's an Uber driver. I get out of my location and guess what? His uncle drives off my luggage. So I missed the whole thing because I spent the whole day following my luggage around London on the Uber tracking. So yeah. And after that point, I'll be honest, since we had kids, I just, you know what it is? When I had my own kids, I just thought, there's certain things I just will never understand. So I just kind of took more of a backseat, didn't I? And I won't lie to you, I was less like, do whatever you want to me kind of attitude. And when I say that, I mean as in like, it was like, if they set a schedule for me and you, we're praying at this time, we're going here, we're eating this, then we're going, they used to feed me, you know, like Somalis feed each other. I'm like, I'm full. And they'll be like ramming food into my mouth.
Ultimate sign of a
I have love, yeah, but I'm literally gagging because I'm full. Like my belly's full.
and yeah, eat.
I used to look at you and you'd be like, just eat, and I'm like, I'm full. Like, but after I had kids, I won't lie to you before. I used to let them just feed me, even though I'm physically sick in my body. Like my body's regurgitating the hilib.
That's bag, but still.
Are you joking?
Yeah, like this.
But after I had kids, I was like, no, I'm my own person now, and I don't want to. I didn't have a problem with anything, you know, but I just wanted to make sure that I was absolutely loyal to myself for my kids' sake, because I didn't want to teach my kids that just go along. Because respectfully, I do feel like some things in your life and in our marriage, you've just gone along as like
100%,
it's an expectation.
100%. It's like for me, it was like, I don't know. There was like, man, like my childhood, like no matter what difficulty, whatever was going on, it was like full of love. I had family around. You know, I had my siblings. It was, to me, like it was like an amazing time, and I had such a good time. And it's like, but you do sometimes, like obviously, because the way you're conditioned culturally and just everything is just like, this is how we roll. It's black and white. There's no other question. You just roll with it, and I never had an issue with that. And even in our marriage, I didn't have an issue with that. Like being a dutiful son was one of the things that I prided myself.
Yeah, it
on.
was.
Besides being like doing everything else that's required of me with my life and my faith and whatnot, but being dutiful to my parents was everything.
The utmost.
But then there's like dutiful, and then there's 100% obedience. And like I told you, I just can't until I'm in the shoes. It's a principle of my life. Unless I've been in your shoes or I understand your situation, I can't fully speak.
But you used to have a bit of a complex with that. Like your mum would literally be like, "Far, jump up and down 10 times," and I'd be like, "Just so you know, if you don't want to jump," and you'd be like, "No, no, I'm gonna jump."
Once again, that's an analogy, right? But the point I'm making, 100%. And it was just,
you were like, "What's the point in saying no when I could just do it?"
It used to be in my head though. It used to be like, look, like it was like a big part of like our marriage and my willingness to fully open up and be like, you know, put all my eggs in one basket using Love Island chat, despite being married already. It was just like, I was just thinking to myself, like, what if
this marriage fails?
This fails.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything else. And do you know what? It was like, when I had kids, when we had our first child, I realized that it's not a case of it's never what I felt as a parent and what I'd want for him isn't blind obedience or some of the things that was, you know, just drilled into me and my family, and I felt like I had such a massive responsibility to him and
to Jai.
To both of us.
That's our oldest baby.
Was around, that's our oldest. But I had such the weight of the responsibility that I felt to him and the things that I never wanted him to experience, or the difficulties that I never wanted him to face. Like with his life, with things that he'd witnessed in us, things I've seen and gone through myself, like, which to me, you know, my childhood was all rosy, you know what I mean? I was just like, you know what I mean? Like this, I was just like, no, this is the most important person.
Yeah.
And how I feel about him is how I expect parenting and love to go. So it was a lot easier for me to realize and see, like, oh my God, this whole time, all of this like stress and stuff that I'd put into our marriage. And it wasn't just from, you know, external things like your family or my family. But it was also like how it kind of underscored my reluctance to fully let my guard down around you and fully not just commit to you, because there's just always that nightmare scenario. And I don't know if, you know, other people who are from my culture have experienced it, of like, there'll be a family member, they'll tell you the story of this person, you know, they married this person who's, you know, not Muslim or is not from our culture. Every culture's got that story, and, you know, they had children, and then look at that, they take the kids, and the man is left, and blah, blah, blah. You don't want to be there, that's why we marry our own. And like, I felt like how I felt about you and towards you was like so powerful. But I also knew at your core, like in who you were, was like one of the most honorable people.
But I do want to make clear though, just because I had.
My point. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
All right, but I feel like when I had kids, when we had Jai, and I realized like how I felt about him and how you, despite even having a baby and the difficulties that added, which I'm sure will be a podcast for another day, but we weren't going anywhere and we were committed.
What do you mean?
Like, you weren't like, F this guy.
Oh, I thought you meant that as in like, when you said we weren't going anywhere, I thought you meant that as in like.
Like we had a ton of things that we could just divide up 50-50. You'd be okay, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
But no matter how hard it got with the newborn baby and everything else and all the
that was hell. God, you're emotional.
Difficulties of family, everything.
Are you gonna cry?
I don't do much. No, but do you know what I mean? I'm like, we weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
We were going to work at it and work through it. And for me, like, that gave me the I don't know, I don't want to say security, but it made me feel comfortable enough to just fully be like, and it was like £10 million rock off my chest.
But I do want to say though, I do think, and you know, it's like a catch-22. When do you stop trying? But in my opinion, as long as I'm willing to try with anybody and there's no absolute disrespect there or break of trust there, the effort should be tried with the person that I signed up with. And don't get me wrong, sometimes like we've experienced sometimes like some parts of our marriage where I just want a divorce, like respectfully, and I'm sure you felt the same way. Yeah, like we felt like this is not gonna, but then when we come out of like such a vile place, we're like, whoa
like, you look nice.
No, but I won't lie to you, it makes me think, thank fuck I didn't give up. But it does immediately make me think, and don't get me wrong, we don't fix things overnight. It sometimes can go on for months. Me and you had a very miserable place for about a year. And I want to say that because I want to emphasize to people that things aren't an overnight fix, and it does make me, and I'm not judging anyone who's decided it's just not for them, or they've tapped out, or they've chosen divorce. I'm not judging at all, but I do want to emphasize that a year, lots of people wouldn't try with somebody for a year, but when we came out of it, and we actually came out like respectfully, with better communication, better sex, better physicality, like physical affection, better, we looked better as people though. And I can't help but be reminded and think, how many people tapped out before they got to this point?
100%.
So I won't lie to you, it's slightly delirious and, you know, it's a bit delulu because I'm sure at one point in our marriage, if we do get to that point, there won't be a solution. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Sometimes people do a cycle of toxicity, but I do feel like marriage is glorified, and it really annoys me when people say, oh, you passed the 5-year mark, well then you're on your way. Or they say, if you've gone past the 7-year itch, you're fine. I'm like, what? Like, what?
Not just that.
What?
All these songs and captions and like images of like this, oh, perfect person. Oh, if they got tick this box for it to be the right person.
But you weren't my person. If I drew my person on a list, right, wrote my person on a list with a tick box, and you wrote yours, we would not be each other's type. I think we learned to love each other because we had something between us. You had an attraction to me. We had something. You had an attraction to me. I just wanted to help out the hungry. But no, but let me be real. Let me actually be brutally honest with these people, right? I had dated people before. I wasn't a virgin when I met you, right? I want to be clear as day. I had boyfriends, right? And when I met you, I didn't want a relationship at all. I was hanging around with a bunch of black guys who were selling Smarties. But I didn't actually know until something chaotic happened. But we'll talk about that a different day. But I realised that, you know what? No, I didn't spend my whole life hanging around people who sell Smarties, but I was more familiar with that kind of person. I was more familiar with the rough and ready kind of guy. I was more familiar with the guy who was a bit more passive aggressive with his feelings, and that person had a crush on me. And I honestly, even now, like, I know that I almost convinced myself I had a crush on them, but if I did, I would have acted more towards it. I think it was more like, I like hanging out with you, so whatever you think its basis is on, I won't tell you otherwise. Genuinely, I like now. I'm not in a state of delusion. Seriously, and I've got no reason to argue it. Genuinely, because I'm like, I would have never thought, I'm going to date you and marry you. I wouldn't have wanted a child with that person. But it was more like, I like hanging out with them. We've been hanging out for years. They changed it into a romantic thing, and I just wanted to keep hanging out. Do you know what I'm saying? But when I met you, I was like, whoa, this guy's crazy. He's weird, man, because you were just so, like, soft. You were just, like, buying me Easter eggs. And he's like, oh, do you want to go cinema to see this new Marvel film? And I'm like, people like me don't go cinema. We go club. We go to club. No, but like, and again, that sounds really sketty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I said to you in the beginning of the podcast, me saying that might sound like I'm up for a different reason, but I think maybe I just didn't have, maybe because I didn't have a good example of like a male relationship. I just thought, and like I had an older brother. I've got an older brother. I talk about it past tense. And he was very much like, what is that relationship when it's like, I always used to feel like I always used to say my brother's like push, pull, if that makes sense. Like on a Sunday morning, for example, let's say he's watching, is it like LA or SO, what's that program?
NCIS.
NCIS, yeah, Miami or something like that. You know what I mean,
NCIS
though?
LA, yeah.
Yeah, right? I'd go down and he's sitting there, sprawled in front of the TV, and I'd be like, move over, and I'd like nudge him, and I'd sit there, and he'd be like, fuck off. Like, teenagers, by the way, it's not just... He'd be like, fuck off, I'm watching TV, but I'd be like, no. And then he'd be like, Aaliyah, go away, I'm watching TV. But then I always felt like as he saw me naturally become disengaged or a lot less disinterested in actually participating in it with him. And let's say I'm like, went on my phone or I looked the other way or I started going on my laptop. I find that he gave me small snippets of conversation, almost to say like, as my sister, I love you, but it's not cool to love you. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool to want to hang out with you. That's what message I was getting from that. So I think meeting these guys who we were friends with, but really was kind of like a bit of rude boys. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I was familiar with that. But you who was like, hey, let's hang out. I was like, yo, this guy's serial killer. He's a serial killer. He's going to kill me. He's a weirdo. He used to send me selfies of himself. Now, no man has ever sent me a selfie of themselves. And his selfies was really chaotic. It was giving Ted Bundy. You had your foot. He had a mirror resting on the back of his radiator. You know, like they have the little grids at the back so you could rest it. Like more the modern ones, not the old school ones, right? And he had a mirror there, and you took a picture and your foot was on top of the radiator. So I had like a crotch shot, but like you was in it.
Yo, hold the phone. What is this characterization? First and foremost, listen. First and foremost, context. All right.
You were showing me what you was wearing.
Yeah, thank you. I was going out, and you were like, "What are you wearing?"
A crotch shot.
My full. I never sent you a crotch shot.
No, but your leg was on top of there.
No, I had my foot up like this.
Yeah.
And I had one leg down. Listen.
It was weird.
Excuse me.
It's giving Miles Morales.
Excuse me. Maybe, but here's the thing, okay? Listen, you might have spent your Fridays and Saturday evenings, right?
With gangsters.
Hanging out with fucking Top Boy. Okay? Yeah. Fucking Kano,
swearing.
Asher D,
now he's swearing.
Kit and Jamie and them, man. However, do not mischaracterize me.
No.
Hold the phone.
Go. You better hurry up because this is my podcast.
I was incredibly popular. Right?
But I didn't talk about your popularity.
No. Look, I was doing very, very well for myself, and I was very happy with the attention that I was getting.
Okay, but
right? However,
those 3 points don't equate to anything. You sent me that picture. No, look, listen. My podcast, honey. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a crotch shot. Excuse me, it's my podcast. Let's move on. So he sent me a picture of himself with his foot up on the radiator. He had a fucking Usher hat on, right? That made you look like made you look like you were hair fishing. Seriously. And I was like, what the fuck? I'd never received a dick pic, just as a disclaimer. But the kind of guys I were hanging out with, they would send me their penis before they sent me their face. And you know why? Because they had fucking 16 baby mamas.
Cases out.
Because
That's why no face, no case.
But again, they didn't send me anything because I had no romantic connection with anybody. I'm just making it clear though.
You better undisclaim that.
No, but I'm just making you aware of the people that I was hanging out with. But again, you might be like, why were you hanging out with these people? But again, I didn't realise who they were or how dangerous they were until the end. That's just a disclaimer. But he sent me this like... It slightly was a tad crotch shot. And he used to wear Converse. And I know it sounds really bad because I actually really fancy you in Converse now. But I found it a massive ick. Like, how is he so comfortable showing his ankles all the time? And you're a Somali, right? Now, I hate to make a blanket statement, but Somalis are.
They say something about my ankle because it's always
No,
creamed up. Coco's
no.
always been
No,
on
no,
it.
no, no, no. I wasn't going to say that. Look at
better not.
you. No,
I'm just waiting for what
Somalis.
racist thing you're gonna say.
No, nah, 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 nah.
I'm gonna wake your children up and be like, boys, judge your mother now.
No, Somalis have a history of thin legs. Like, you've got
ballerina ankles.
you've got very skinny legs, and I've met loads of Somalis with very skinny legs.
And there's
So
some with Beyonce legs.
no, there is absolutely, but there's lots more with skinny legs and skinny wrist, right?
Robust.
So I just couldn't understand why you wanted to show that, like your little like Barbie ankles in your shoes.
The thing is, when it comes to the game,
The game.
yeah, some people play checkers and some people play chess.
Ew.
Yeah, my chess game won because look where I am.
Anyway,
Yeah, everything from the Converse, everything from the Usher hat, everything from my deliberate decisions to actually be different and actually
be different.
Yeah, of course.
What was different
100%.
about you?
What was different about me was the fact that I was actually just going to be my genuine self.
You was a
Be
hella
nice
creeper.
and be kind. Yeah, and if you didn't respond to that, then guess what?
I didn't
You
respond to that for a while.
1 million. No, excuse me. You didn't respond all the way romantically for a while. However, it kept you consistently, day in, day out.
Yeah.
Right. In my life.
No, because I'll be honest with you.
hold on,
Excuse me. I'll be honest with you. You were my safe haven. Like, I knew. When I met you, genuinely, it was a massive. Right before I met you, I remember walking the street, and I remember somebody. You know, now I'm on the internet frequently. It's like a trend. It's like this. Show me a time where you were most unhappy and nobody noticed. It's like a trend. They do that, and it's people like but they're fucking miserable, right? And I remember hearing that all those years ago, a decade and plus ago, whatever. And I remember thinking, right now, I've got shitloads of friends. I go out 5 times minimum a week. I've got money, or I'm getting money, you know, I'm making money, I'm spending money, and I'm fucking miserable. And in my heart, I knew, I didn't want a relationship with you because I didn't want a relationship with anyone. But I wanted, just like the other guys, I wanted the perks of you. But again, now I'm saying this, I'm having this realization while we're talking. I didn't know how to communicate that in a healthy way. I didn't know how to say, you know what? I don't know if I can do this right now, but can we? You know what I mean? I didn't feel like I could ever say that to somebody and get a positive response. So I didn't lead you on, but I was just like, yeah, sure. You know, sure.
1,000,000%. And it was one of those things where it was really like, I could see every time, like, it would be, you'd go out with your friends.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, you know, come back from the gym, I'm eating dinner.
Yeah.
I'm chilling at home. And then you'd come to my house. It would just be like, you were like, I could see the constant battle.
Yeah. Oh, I was fighting. I was
Constant
fighting
battling,
demons.
Should I? Shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I need to get out of here. No, I should stay.
I've never
And it
had
was
this.
just
I need to stay here where it was crazy.
1,000,000%. And then there was like the time where you fully warmed and you decided this is it.
When
for
was
you.
that?
The night you came over.
In the
you
black
bought
and
me
white
food.
strip.
Yeah.
In the black and white stripy
then-
shirt. Yeah.
And then
You're on about my
your
ex-boyfriend.
ex-boyfriend, who in all respect, let me tell you something.
No, but
in all respect,
clear
he's
up
one
though.
of the nicest human beings ever.
He is,
and he's a super friendly guy.
And clear up though why my ex-boyfriend was calling me. Like I said to you, I like to keep friends.
You do?
I don't, and I know, no, I did back then anyway.
Collect your exes like Pokemon.
No, I don't. You better take that back.
No, I'm only kidding,
No, even me and my ex. No, but even me and my ex, I don't even. I won't ever deny that we're ex-partners because that would be delusional. But genuinely, we were just great friends who everybody said we had a spark. I don't think we even felt a spark. We just did what society almost felt we had to do. And literally, after we did it for like 4 months, we looked at each other. I remember being like, yeah, we can't, what's the fucking point in this? We just like chilling and going home after. And seriously, not even sex. And I want to make that clear because nobody can ever understand when you say, I'm not doing sex.
I don't think
Me and his mum got along like cat and dog was like a good thing.
No.
Like a house on fire. Yeah. We got along like I would go to his house, right? In the afternoon. He's not even there, right? Tell me if he's my boyfriend. Why am I there when he's not there?
You
For
hang with
4
his mum
hours.
and then dip when he comes home,
Thank
you
you.
tell me.
Because I just liked his friendship. We worked together. But again, I do feel like I had an unhealthy outlook on relationships and almost what I felt I had to do. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was like, literally, I was sat there and I was thinking,
No, admit the
fully
truth.
feeling me?
Admit the
She
truth.
mine.
Admit the truth. I had this black and white stripy top on and these like leather pants. And this is a bit TMI, but
Oh, God.
you know, like you know, I call it joinery, but I've since learned the name is groin. I won't lie to you. Since I can remember, since '96. That has hurt me. Like, it aches. It aches. You know, like, if you do that with the Barbie doll's legs all the time, you think, she must be sore there. That's me, right? And I always ached. And remember, I won't lie to you, I brought you food. I was a little bit tipsy. And I was like, look, I even said to you, disclaimer, I'm taking off my pants right now. Not my pants. I meant my trousers, but I used to call them pants. So I said, look, disclaimer, I'm taking off my pants right now. Leather trousers. This is not a sexual innuendo. My pants was out and my bum was on show, but my joinery was killing me, and I've been boogieing for like 8 hours, and I took them off, right? And I could see I was like, woo, like it's like Mario and Luigi when they like power up. Next minute, ring ring, ex-boyfriend.
No. Come on.
What?
Come on. Like, the conversation was flowing.
What?
You weren't
I don't
doing
really.
your
I was drunk.
Yeah. Excuse me. You weren't doing your usual, like, I must sabotage this.
Oh, yeah.
This is too good.
Self-saboteur.
Like,
I'm the best at it.
You are the best self-saboteur. Everything goes smooth, and then you just be like,
No, when I feel myself being open, right? This is what I do in every situation. I can open up so easily, but then when there's a bit of a silent gap, I feel myself being open. I'm like, what the fuck? Who opened this? I didn't realise. No, but anyway, we were chatting.
And then his drunk ass called you.
For money for a taxi or something.
No. He lost his wallet. He got too drunk. He was in a taxi
That he couldn't pay for.
He couldn't pay for.
Yeah.
And the taxi driver said he's gonna take him into an industrial estate
And beat him up. Yeah, and I
So
was
he
like,
jumped out of the taxi. And he's like, I'm in a pond somewhere.
it was like, funnily enough, he was in a pond right outside your house. So that is the only reason.
Bro.
That was God. That was God, because you would have sinned that night.
Huh?
You would have sinned that night. You would have clapped cheeks. Not to
Oh my God.
He wouldn't have clapped cheeks because I wasn't willing to do that. But funnily enough,
how are you gonna use my religion
no,
to justify
justify what?
his deliberate pagan move?
No. It was absolutely wild that coincidentally,
drowning.
no, he was in the pond, right,
I remember,
outside your house.
I'm drowning.
No, when I got to him, he was soaking wet through.
Because he was drowning.
Right, and when I saw him and he was soaking wet through, right, I literally thought I live way closer than he lived, so I took him to my house. I washed his clothes. I dried his clothes. I made him fish fingers. It was like
No. He burnt your house down.
making him fish fingers, because I was thinking fish fingers is the safest thing. If you fall to sleep, they don't set fire. You know what I mean? I made him fish fingers, and I sent him on his blood clot way in the
I
morning.
remember your brother was like, there was smoke everywhere. He's just pissed.
And my brother was like, what are you doing with him when you got the other guy? And I'm like,
So he was back in.
no, he was. But my brother obviously dealing with thoughts, because he just couldn't understand I was just being a good mate. And I didn't even sleep in the same bed as him that night. I just thought, let me do this guy a favour, man, because he was fully wet. He was wet. Yeah. He had jeans on. He was drenched.
Marks all over yourself.
He was drenched. I thought, imagine I just saved this guy's life. But anyway, we're going off topic. We did divert when we talked about your family and my relationship with your family. So yeah, my relationship with this family is still there, because we did go off topic with that. It's still there. It's very much still there, but it's just not the same as it was. I think it's like from a distance. No, do you know now? I'll be honest. Respectfully, I just can't be asked. That's the best way I can explain it. And that's not when I say for your family. I mean, like, I can't be asked. I can't be asked to go out of my way. I think when you have kids, right, genuinely, not just your family, you just can't be asked with anything. You think, before it was like, oh, must go out at least once a week to at least stay sociable. Nah, I couldn't give a shit if I don't see the daylight for 6 months. I can't be, I'm exhausted. It makes you realise what's important.
100%.
So I always say to Far every single day, tell me you've called your dad, tell me you've called this person, tell me you've called that person. But I don't do what I used to do, and I don't call them on your behalf. Like, if my kids want to speak to them, I'll call. Of course. If they call me to speak to my kids, I'll answer. But I'm not calling to just say, hi, I'm doing my daily diligence as your daughter. Like, I can't be fucked. Respectfully, though.
I can't be fucked.
No, but I can't be. And I do feel like ever since I've been a bit more like... Because before, I never used to say to him, I'll be honest, I can't be asked. I'd just be like, yeah. But ever since I'm more like, I can't be asked. They're just like... I feel like they respect me more because...
Oh, 100%.
I feel like all this time though, you was maybe a bit afraid of me coming across a bit abrupt or abrasive, and I think that was inevitable. I was always going to come across that way initially, but now they all know where they stand with me. Like genuinely, like even your sister sometimes she pisses me off, and I just say, "Yo, you're pissing me off," and she's like, she takes it as a sister, and she thinks I'm pissing off my sister, and we move on. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Where before it would be like, if she pissed me off, I would never say it.
No, I get that.
And it make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said before, I think there was always this massive fear of things reaching a point that we just couldn't.
No return. From. Yeah. You used to always say that.
And I feel like with like a lot of parents from our cultural background, the community and the community's opinion was everything. Do you know what I mean?
But
it's like, and the funny thing is, since all of those cares have gone out the window, and since we've, I'll say on my part, I've fully opened up and let my guards down, and that horrible fear of being like a failure, in my marriage and failing, going outside of people's best practice and advice. Ever since those things went away, anybody who really interacts with you just purely as your loud, abrasive, disgustingly honest, like absolutely, like
I get along with,
along with, and you know what? It's one of those things.
I could go to the mosque without you, without your family, and they would all be like my daughter-in-law. Seriously? No, maybe not daughter-in-law. That's weird. Like, what would they call me?
Oh,
like the women and the men in there.
Sister.
They won't call me their sister. They're old. They'll call me their sister.
They'd be like sister.
Would they? Well, yeah. You know what? Anyway, I get along with them as well as I want to. That sounds terrible, but it's facts. Anyway, talking about culture, how do we differentiate your religion, my religion, how we do celebrations? Because loads of people ask that, so tell them. So firstly, Eid. What do we do for Eid? Do we participate? What do we... Okay.
Fully. Every single one of the traditions, everything that needs to be...
Prayers. Obviously, we have a small baby, so we have one that's 1. So when we say we for our children, we are purely speaking on the basis of the older one. The younger one has done stuff, but if I talk about praying and speaking, it's obviously not the baby.
Crawling around the mosque.
Yeah.
As everyone's trying to do sujood. They
go to mosque, they pray, we celebrate it, I try and make a thing of it, but again, I don't know what it should be.
Yeah, but
I hate when people say...
You don't give yourself enough credit, because I'll tell you right now, there's plenty of people. Look, it's not about other people, but the amount of, and this is the thing, the amount of time, repetition, because to teach kids about their faith, who they are, their culture, where they come from, it's consistent repetition in and around the household. Like so much of their language, so much of their, their daily practices of their faith, are all, a lot of it, yes, comes from me, but it's reinforced by you on a daily basis. Like, just think, today we went to a christening, your good friend's child is being christened, and we went to a church, because that's where the christening was, of course, happening. And I want my kids to see other religions and other cultures, and be comfortable in their own. And like the pastors at the front talking and saying, this about God and Jehovah, and my son's like, that's Allah. You know what I mean? And then we go outside, and he's like, he sees the mosque in the city, and he goes, are we going for Allah Akbar? So you've got to realize, like, that can't be. I'm out of the house 12 hours a day. You know what I mean?
5 times a week.
Yeah, 5 times a week. And, my weekend, I might put all my time into my kids, but that's just bog standard as a dad, in my humble opinion. And that's not enough. And without you reinforcing that, that doesn't pass through to a 3-year-old who's just about learning to speak.
It's always been really important for me for my kids to carry their culture. Not even with you. I actually think culture, maybe not, but language. I taught my children their first Somali words. Facts.
Yes.
Facts.
Their
It was
first-
so
the ones that they first said.
It doesn't.
to my
Excuse
dismay.
me. I taught them. It was so important for me to have a fluent speaking Somali household. Yeah, he speaks Arabic. Yeah, he speaks French. But to me, it was like, pick one and let's just focus on one. It was important for me to just start it there because I always want them to feel like, you know what? If they go like somewhere where it's heavily populated as Somalis, because right now we don't live around, you know, lots of Somalis or lots of Muslims. We don't. But I don't want them to feel like the black sheep when they go around that. I want them to almost go in, and the other Somali men are going to be like, they're going to think they're like goats, for example, or whatever, like, you know, foreign animals, because...
I thought you meant greatest of all time.
No, because sometimes, like, for example, like, we come from, like, quite piss-taking families, and they always kind of mock the fact that our family live in the woods, and then our kids go there and start speaking Somali and saying, but I know, and they're always like, oh, our kids can't speak Somali, and I'm like, yeah, the wilderness does a lot for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I almost want them. No, but...
It's that competitive drive.
No, there's no competition. No, but genuinely, I just want them to I hate the fact that people think because we don't live in a heavily populated area, we're taking them out of their who they are. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not. We always celebrated. In regards to Christmas, we had battles back and forth. Far never used to let me have a Christmas tree, ever.
Don't say
No,
that.
let me speak. He never used to let me have a Christmas tree. He just couldn't understand it. When I say let me, when we moved in together I used to have one in my own apartment. Let me finish.
Sorry.
When we moved into I had them all in my apartment. Far basically lived at my apartments, but just didn't pay any bills and ate all my food. But are you lying? I used to make him 42 meal preps a week, all in boxes, all labelled, give it to you, so you didn't even have to cook a thing. Wasn't even your wife then.
You were wife fishing me.
I was doing wife duties without the ring. And the second
you got the ring, you stopped doing the wife.
I stopped doing everything. I was like, fuck that.
Like he fell for it.
But listen, he didn't. Right, so the first year we moved together, I was like, let's get a Christmas tree. Like, he was like, what? I would be like, no, can't do that. And I was like, I don't worship the tree. I don't sing around it. We don't we don't say, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Oh, no, seriously. I was like, it really is just a decoration. It's nothing more than a decoration. I don't see it as any more than a decoration. Anyway, finally managed to brag him. And he said, look, whatever you do, my mum's coming up at the end of December. Just make sure it's taken down. I was like, yeah, I promise. It'll be taken down. Guess what? Like I told you. Guess who knocked on the door? Literally, like a day later, we put the tree up. Boom. Knock on the door. Assalamu alaikum. His mum and dad are there. I'm dying at this door thinking they're going to walk in and see our tree. And the tree was not a small thing. And it went all across the apartment and everything. And they walk in and I'm just like dying. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I wanted to die. I wanted to die because I was like... And your mum's face, she walked in. And she really liked that apartment because it was like all for the glass and stuff. So she used to... honestly, I think she just liked coming there, I'll be honest. And she walked in and she was like... I just went to the floor and you was like... hi, Mum.
I came from out the kitchen. I was like, Dad, that's fun times.
But then I just decided to make a joke out of it because it was so awkward. And I was like, Father didn't want this to be here when you came, but you surprised us, so surprise! And it did kind of break the ice a little bit, didn't it? Because your dad... I think your mum didn't think it was...
my auntie...
Oh, yeah? Everybody was there?
I still have this image ingrained of like just the awkward feeling of all of them sat on the sofa, overlooking a view of this city in our like swanky apartment, big ass Christmas tree right there,
and all the decorations. It was so awkward, wasn't it?
All the eyes were trained on it.
Yeah. Because we had all these Muslims in the living room, right? And it just felt like such an odd situation. Like, all these Muslims there, right? And, like, they were all one at a time doing wudu as well in the toilet so they could pray, so you could all pray together. Because every time that anyone would come, we'd always take the opportunity to pray together, yeah. So, one at a time, they were all going upstairs and doing wudu. And I remember just, like one come down and they would literally come out, and like, their head would just go to the floor. And I've never wanted to rip a Christmas tree down so much in my life.
And then you came with your like imaginary PowerPoint presentation. So it's not a religious thing. What happened?
Yeah, no, I did. I felt so awkward. No, because imagine we do right. It's not a 10-second thing. So imagine there's lots of Muslims in the living room at this point. Your auntie, uncle.
I remember
like,
everybody was walking in bit by bit.
Yeah.
Like, when dad's mum come through, auntie, cousin, maybe a younger cousin. I said baby,
kid.
like, in their 20s.
It was.
And then other uncle. Okay.
Your auntie who had never even met was there. She came too, right? So I'm just like, everyone's doing wudu. Then Far leaves to go do his wudu, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to fill the room, right? So they're all sitting there. Some of them are even sitting on the floor, and I'm like, so guys, the star doesn't represent anyone. I don't know what to say. I swear to you, if I wouldn't have looked chaotic, I would have just thrown it over the balcony. I'm not joking. I wanted to die. But anyway, that's celebrations. Do we celebrate Christmas? I suppose you could say we do. We don't celebrate it for religious reasons. No. We don't really give gifts. So like in regards to gift giving, we're aware that we have a child that goes to school. He learns lots about Santa and all the rest of it. So we try and make it more of an end of year treat. He gets between 3 to 5 gifts. We don't overdo it. We don't do something like the superstitions. You know, it really is more of a fun thing.
It's not a religious thing. At the end of the day, it's like
I think it's just more of an end of year family celebration.
It's more of a cultural thing. I think for you.
No, because I think it's become less and less. And ever since we had kids, we started just going on holiday for Christmas. And you actually do still see a lot of Christmas on holiday. You get all Santas and all the rest of it. But I think since doing that, it's kind of actually minimised Christmas, because we love Christmas. We put Christmas lights up into our house and everything. But I don't like the idea of saying everyone's waiting for this one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you take the religious aspect out of it, I just don't like the idea of telling my child, this one day everyone's waited for, now you're going to get 100 presents, you get to eat what you want, do what you want. I more like to treat him over a period of time, and that's why we end up going on holiday as well, because we just find it's the best time to spend the time together as a family anyway. So that's what we do.
I don't work over that Christmas break. So
are we boring you?
No.
You're excused?
It's just...
bedtime?
Not bedtime.
Okay. So yeah, we do celebrate the holidays, but I don't know. I respect Far's religion, and I think he respects the way I grew up. And you know, if it comes to going to mosque, if it's Eid or anything like that, I'll happily wear any attire. Yeah. Like, I will wear any attire. The only thing I won't do is pretend. Mm-mm. You know, so like. I know, but you know, sometimes, like, especially in the beginning when we'd go somewhere, it was on Eid, and people would be like, and they'd meet me. I almost felt like the people I was meeting, even strangers, and be like, oh, Farhan's wife. I almost felt like they wanted me to be a Muslim, like, because if not, why? You know what I'm saying? But on that basis, loads of people ask me as well, would I revert? I've never said never. I'm not open to it. I've learned as much as I'm willing and open to learn, I feel, about Islam thus far. It's been about 8 years. 8 years of teachings. 8 years of learning a language as well, which I have learned pretty well already. And I think I know enough to say not right now. And I don't want not right now to be a promise, but I want it to be, I'm not saying never. But what I am saying is, right now is not my time. And like I've said, and I've been open about on the internet and on this podcast, I do drink alcohol. Now, I'm not saying I won't revert because I can't ever drink again, because that would be ridiculous, not committing to something for the sake of alcohol. But the fact that I still drink alcohol, in my opinion, wipes me out. Like, why would I step forward into something to do that while sinning? Do you know what I mean? And you might be like, well, why don't you revert and just never drink again? But imagine committing to that, then not doing it. I like to practice what I preach, genuinely. And I always say to you, I take my hat off, because I think to follow any religion, but especially learning loads more about your religion, it takes such dedication, such commitment. And I just don't feel like I have that right now. So I would hate to do it a disservice. Does that make sense?
Oh, 1,000,000%. And like for me, look, just going back to the Christmas thing, for me, like your religion, you've come so far to like understanding mine and everything that you do for us as a family to make sure that it's were super involved and could all the way to the point of learning like the rare like pancake that my people make on Eid Day, specifically in the country that I'm from, and it's like being able to cook that up so our kids can enjoy it. You know, making samosas and all the lovely food. You know, for after we break our fast. You know, there's so many things that you do. For me, I want to make sure that at least you feel like your culture has a place. Do you know what I mean? In the house. So for me, like even though Christmas is massively dying down for us as a family,
it is, though, isn't it? Naturally,
it's non-existent.
I don't think it's non-existent. No, I think you're doing too far.
But I'm not. But the point I'm making is, look, I will always support you, and I'll make sure that you've got that. And for me, we've gotten this far because we have an understanding of each other and for each other, and I'm not going to force you into my faith. I feel like the more you, if Allah wills it for you, the more you learn, the more you see, and the better ambassador myself and my fellow brothers and sisters out there in the world are of our faith. You know, the closer it will bring you to it, inshallah. But so it's your choice.
But I also want to clarify. People say, "What? How did you choose your children's religion?" One, it's known, and I don't know if I knew this, but it's known that your children follow the faith of the male, of the father. But let's wipe out that fact altogether. We actually had this debate, and I said, what does my religion bring to it, Christianity, and what does your religion bring to it? And I felt like, and I don't mean to be shady, I don't see this as a shady comment, please don't take offense to anyone, but I just felt like Islam and Muslims had a bit more, would you say, like, I don't know, it was a bit more rigid. I found it a bit more rigid. I personally found it I don't want to say it required a bit more discipline. I don't mean it's in like Christianity is not disciplined, but I just feel like there was loads more, let's say, nooks and crannies. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I know, like, just basics. No sex before marriage applies to both. You can still drink. Certain people don't, though. You know what I'm saying, though? And it's like praying 5 times a day, forgiving people, leading with, you know, with good intention. And it was like, actually, I don't feel like I'm doing them a disservice choosing this. Actually, if they got older and they chose anything else, I feel like we've instilled great core values and morals to them, following your religion. So that's how we decided on that. But finally, I just want to wrap this podcast up with this because, again, this is a big question. We spoke about our social media platform and presence. Oh, well, everybody knows I've recently had a breast reduction and uplift. And since that, people are starting to see me in my bra and underwear in my fashion content. How do you feel about that?
It's your fashion content, Aaliyah. And it's one of those things where, look, you, like you just addressed a second ago, are not a Muslim. Yeah. And you, when I married you, I knew that if this was going to go forward, you know, there were lines of respect that we had to have for each other and boundaries. But what you're doing in your content of getting dressed, which is basically wearing exactly what you would when you go to the beach, or are at the swimming pool, is not an issue for me. You're not out. Can I say?
Go.
Look, you're not out there shaking your bum. You're not out there. Look, and
I do shake my bum.
For anybody else, excuse me, but no, you're not out there doing anything that I feel breaks a boundary for us in our marriage.
But I think that's growth for you because fashion's changed now. But remember that one time on your birthday, I wore trousers and what he would call a bra, but now you're in 2023. People are wearing that shit all the time, right? And I even said to him, it's a top. And he was like, that is a bra. That is a bra. You better cover yourself up, young lady. I do think that's taken growth. And I believe genuinely, I believe genuinely that's been growth. And you've seen me, and it's the biggest thing, the biggest misconception that's on the internet right now, in my opinion, is me being a different person because I've reduced my boobs. Honestly, And people couldn't be so far from the truth, but I get why they think that, because they don't know my story.
Yeah, 100%.
But me taking off my breast took way more off than how I felt about my figure, genuinely. And I make fashion content starting from the base upwards because I want to I want to put out a message of body empowerment, of figure empowerment. You see models all the time and they wear black and white underwear. I don't go on my actual underwear that I do wear, you know. And I just no, but I don't. That's not my underwear though.
No,
You know full well that's not my underwear.
That's
You know,
it's like
it's
a base.
I just see it like a base. You know, I do see it, and this might be cringe for some people, but I do see all content as a form of art. It's somebody choosing to express themselves a certain way, which people buy into because they're like, whoa, I like that. It made me feel something. I love the fact that my video makes someone feel something. I almost want people to feel like they're in the room with me. Now, there's so many people who are like, Staffarla, you want men to feel like they're in. If a man is on there with wrong intentions, he's on there with wrong intentions, whether I've got a scarf on or I won't dim myself down because I know for one, I help myself a lot with it, and two, I help so many other people. Don't forget, I'm also a mom, and there's so many moms who watch me and say, I wish I felt like you. Not even looked like you. They wish they felt like me. They wish they were comfortable enough not to stand on the internet in their underwear, but to, because anyone can buy, if I buy Zara jeans, Zara t-shirt, take a picture and I say, here's my Zara outfit, which Instagram's known for, right? I do take a cute picture, but I like to show the video content because I'm basically saying Instagram, real life. I can take a nice picture with a filter on. You saw me get dressed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those who get it. But I've never explained this to you. But are you okay with that?
You wouldn't need to, of course. Listen, look, what you've got to understand, and what I think some people, and I say some people out there don't, is that when you make, let's say, for example, a video with like a satirical like caricature, so like you're saying one thing and then there's sarcastically this message attached to it and then there's a funny video after it to a song, like it's your way of getting a little piece out there that has an impact on people. And the point is, everything that we do on our page is to spread positivity. So it's like, everything that you do on your page,
thank you,
is to spread. Is to spread. You're 100% right. Right, it's to spread.
He's on the page, but it is my page. I manage all DMs, everything.
Everything. Okay, now back to my point.
Down to the filming.
It's to spread positivity and to have a laugh. And it's what some people, I think it's like a game they play with themselves. It's all good. It's a game that they play with themselves. It's like where they're like, and they take it in the most literal sense when clearly you can see, like, contextually it's a funny video, a skit to make somebody laugh. It's like, but to some people that's the fun of the internet, and that's the pros and the cons. And for any and can I say this,
go
right, as a man and as a Muslim man, for any man who's out there sat on his phone
commenting on my video, right? You've watched the whole video. You've seen me in my underwear. You've sinned already. Stop for long.
Can I speak?
No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Okay.
Go ahead, man. You're so long-winded.
Yeah. Well,
go.
If I ever spoke,
just go.
Thank you. So if you're sat there scrolling through, you know, in your free time, up, down on your little Reels feed, and then a woman comes up.
You'd be like that.
In her bra. I'm talking about me and my algorithm, yeah. I'd be like,
you don't even have that on your algorithm.
Pop okay? Facts, right? Like, you move past, but to stop, look, and then go back and find the context of, she has a Muslim. There's a page that says, there's one of her posts is Eid Mubarak, and she must have a Muslim husband. How disgusting. Let me make a post. Boom, boom, boom. And then you make the post with a picture of just like a black screen, or a picture of a Japanese anime boy picture, for example. All the madness.
A troll account.
A troll account. To do that. And you want to talk about faith and judgment in people. I'm like, well, I don't know. As a man, right? Who I like to think I'm just a straightforward
Guy.
classical guy. I get on
Yeah,
with
we
all
get
guys
it.
from all walks of life, but I'm just a straightforward guy. It's just kind of like not what men
So you
do.
don't have an issue with it?
So I don't have an issue with it, but I also want to highlight that if some people are out there just because. And
I just want to say something though, and I always say this to you. I always say this to you, and maybe it's important I say it on this podcast. Everyone has a problem until you're someone. And what I mean is, I feel, and this is not me saying Amazon as a legendary or iconic status as this person, but for an example, somebody like Scissor, her Instagram, I would consider it borderline pornographic. She's literally, her crotch is on the camera in pants, right?
No, she doesn't come up on
She's humping at the camera because she wants to give that feel out. Fine, right? But because she's Scissor, it's like, you know what? Wow, you're a great person. Your voice is great. We love what you're selling. But right now, I'm really a nobody. So it's like, while you're nobody, why do you want to try and be somebody? But when I'm somebody, I'm everybody to somebody.
minus the camera grinding crotch business.
No, I would never do that.
Obviously.
Unless it's a paid ad. No,
You too, finally.
Okay, so finally, let's wrap this up. Do you want me to revert? Do you actually have hopes for me to revert?
I think what's made this work so far,
Yeah.
and what's honestly brought so many blessings into my life, is that I left this from day one in the hands of Allah. Yeah, and
Inshallah.
where Allah brings you is where Allah brings you.
It's where I was meant to go.
Exactly. That's it's Allah's will. So all I can do is show you the beauty of my faith, my people, and you'll continue to see that, inshallah, in your children. And as you learn even more and see even more with us, as we move through, these boys growing and starting to learn the Quran and going to like Quran classes.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I
Saying?
really can't wait for that.
I don't need to say a word about do I want you to revert, because you know what, I only wish the best for you. And if Allah,
it sounds like you're sending me on my way. Wish the best for you.
Wish the best for you.
Okay.
And if Allah sees fit to, grant you access to Islam, for a poor way of putting it forward, sorry, I'm not very articulate. It's 1 a.m.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Then you know what? Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Okay.
But if he doesn't ever bring you there, then so on and so forth. I think all you can do is, like I say, my genuine thing when it comes to Islam is, and I'm no Islamic scholar, but I'll tell you this: I think as Muslim people, if you want people to embrace Islam and see Islam, all you can be is a good ambassador. Do you know what I mean? And I like to
you're a
think
great
as your
person.
husband, I'm trying to be a good ambassador for you.
Okay. So, final question. Let's wrap up this podcast. Marry or move on?
Goddamn, I'll stay married, girl. I'm saying.
Okay, listen.
One of them Chris Brown ones.
If you're listening on any of the pod. Okay, Shawan, do you want to take that? Okay, if you listen on any of the podcast apps like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, then don't forget to follow and Can you like?
Yes. Rate, share the
Give
video.
us 5, give us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, then I hope you've seen this whole video by now. But don't forget to follow and subscribe, and we'll see you on Wednesday for the next episode.
More fire coming.
Yeah, but I won't lie to you. This is why I kept on trying to interrupt you. Let me get that point. I'm like, this is gonna be a very long podcast. The first podcast, 2 hours.
It's the game. This good
But it's my podcast, so you're not going to tell me the game because it's my podcast. Let me lead the podcast. So when you say don't interrupt me, you wouldn't say that to another podcast host because they're moving on because it's their podcast and it's their.
Joe Rogan not to interrupt.
But Magic, you need to not do that, and I knew you was going to do that.
I thought it was good. I thought it was well behaved.
No, but don't tell me. Don't interrupt me because it's my podcast, and I've set dedicated times to do these things.
Okay. But can I say one thing?
What?
Well done. I'm really proud of you. This is not an easy feat. This looks incredibly professional. You're a G, and I love you. And also, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
You are super duper 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 duper.
Your mic's not even on.